Interview Sessions, Advantages of Building an OOFS by Ken Fujiwara, founder and CEO of Yumitron, Japan. Can you introduce yourself, your professional background, and your current work at Yumitron?
My name is Ken Fujiwara, founder and CEO of Umitron. And Umitron is a technology company dedicated to aquaculture. Well, I used to work as an aerospace engineer at Japanese Aerospace Agency doing research and development. But I wanted to bring those new technology into practice and started Umitron back in 2016. Now we are operating in Singapore and Japan, supporting aqua farmers from technical perspective. At that time, I learned aquaculture is becoming more important as natural marine resources are becoming more scarce. And I grew up in Japan, especially nearby the coastal area. So I thought aquaculture becomes key in 21st century. So I decided to start my own company to support aquaculture industry, leveraging space-related technologies. And now we are providing aqua farmers marine data for their daily operations. And also we developed automatic feeder, which is equipped with the artificial intelligence to optimize feeding and also growth of the farmed fish. And those technologies are actually advancing aquaculture operations and increasing the efficiency of the production. So we are really seeing the great connection between new technologies and aquaculture in a daily work we do.
Why do you resort to an operational ocean forecasting system in your activity?
Basically, ocean environmental data is a critical component of aquaculture operations. For example, change of water temperature greatly affect fish appetite. So farmers needed to adjust feeding amount by looking at changes of water temperatures. Also, wind directions and wave height determines if farmers can reach to farm area on that day. So if we have a good prediction of such environment, farmers can better plan their work schedule. Of course, we can directly monitor such ocean data using insight sensors, but ocean environment changes rapidly, and also farmers needed to plan their daily activity in advance. So it's really good to have a tool to predict ocean environmental changes. So it's good for farming operations and also actually works to help farmers to increase the farming efficiencies.
How can a OOFS play a role in setting up and ensuring sustainable aquaculture or fisheries practices?
So I think from my perspective, there are two ways where that forecasting system can contribute to sustainable aquaculture. One is for planning. We call it spatial planning in aquaculture. So since aquaculture production has been rapidly increasing, there are many of new aquaculture sites currently under planning. And if we have accumulated ocean environmental data, we have a better decision where to farm and which species to farm. So, for example, if we have a good historical data of ocean temperature, we can identify which species is suitable for such a farming area, and we can maximize economic outputs coming from the aquaculture operations. And if we choose the wrong locations for aqua farming, it's also bad for the economical perspectives, and also it's really bad for the environmental perspective as well. So it's really good to have a long-term historical data for the site planning purpose. And another perspective is, of course, in the daily operation in aquaculture, yes, so the for optimized feeding, it is really important to have a ocean temperature data, and also dissolved oxygen is also important to mitigate risks of the fish mortality. So yeah, so I think there's a two perspective, one in the planning phase and also in the operational phase in aquaculture, where the such forecasting system plays important role.
What is your vision about the future of marine data?
My vision, since working with aquaculture farmers, we face a lot of challenges in the daily operations. But in a long term, I'd like to combine the marine environmental data and data from aquaculture operations and make the aquaculture operation more predictable and repeatable. Since right now, aquaculture operations are exposed to risks associated with environmental changes. But if we accumulate data and we can predict what's going to happen when the environmental data changes, we can reduce the risks for farmers and make aquaculture production more stable and sustainable.
How would you characterize operational ocean forecasting systems according to its most beneficial impact?
I would say accessibility, since I think I think it's the first time we can easily access to such ocean data. Prior to this kind of forecasting system, it's very difficult to predict ocean environment and also collect the information related to marine environment. But now we can access to those data from internet, also thanks to the IoT technologies and satellite remote sensing technology. We have a more wider area coverage in terms of the data accessibility. So I think that this kind of accessibility is really creating good impact, especially in aquaculture operations.
Anything you would like to add?
I think since I used to work at the aerospace agency, now I'm really excited to see the satellite remote sensing technology is actually creating to the impact to the this kind of food production industries. I think without this kind of remote sensing data and also the forecasting system, uh, food production, especially the prime industry, has been really exposed to the large risks associated with environmental changes. So I think that is still the beginning. But as we accumulate more data, we have a more predictable in terms of environment, as well as in terms of food production. So I think this kind of technology is really important in the near future as well.